Please wait until your aircraft is ready.
Welcome to the F-14B-U Difference Training Course. In this lesson, we will cover basic navigation principles. You will fly a predetermined route through western Georgia, and will use the prevailing weather conditions to update your navigational skills using the new equipment in the F-14B-U Tomcat. Press the spacebar when you're ready for it. Before we take off, we have to talk about the changes in the navigation system of the BU version by breaking down important information into smaller pieces. Remember, this lesson deals with basic navigation, but not combat. Press the spacebar to acknowledge. Okay, let's quickly summarize the important facts of the BU version. It had an IMU-based Inertial Navigation System, or INS, and a radio-based navigation system, or TACAN. Fixing of the INS was possible either by using TACAN, the radar, or by performing a visual fix. The main steering commands were Destination, TACAN, and AWL-PCD. It used a total of 9 waypoints, and all waypoints were able to be shown on the TID at a time, which were waypoints 1, 2, and 3, surface target, fixed point, home base, hostile area, defense point, and initial point. The display modes, also called HUD modes, were takeoff, cruise, and landing. The pilot mainly used the BDHI and HSD during flying. Press the spacebar when you've internalized that. Okay, now let's look at important facts of the BU version. It has an embedded navigation system combining GPS and INS, known as the EGI, and a radio-based navigation system, or TACAN. Fixing of the INS is done continuously as long as GPS is available. If GPS is not available, the other means for fixing of the INS stated above are possible. The main steering commands are still Destination, TACAN, and also AWL or PCD for landing. So far, so good. New is that each of them can be configured in more detail with the TACAN command button in the front cockpit and the PTID steering selection button in the rear cockpit. This shows navigation information at different displays according to the following matrix. For steering command destination, the pilot uses the TACAN command button to choose between the two options, EGI and TACAN, whereas for EGI, the RIO uses the PTID steering selection button to further select between destination or auto, manual, or overfly. For detailed selection of either auto, manual, or overfly, the RIO uses the CDNU flight plan page. For TACAN, the RIO cannot configure anything. For steering command TACAN, the pilot uses the TACAN command button to choose between the two options, EGI and TACAN, whereas for EGI, the RIO uses the PTID steering selection button to select auto, manual, or overfly. For detailed selection of either auto, manual, or overfly, the RIO uses the CDNU flight plan page. For TACAN, the RIO cannot configure anything. Let's carry on. The CDNU uses an internal database and is able to save 12 flight plans with 50 waypoints each. Caused by limitations of the PTID, it only shows a total of 18 waypoints on the screen at a time. A prioritization scheme is used. Priority waypoints 1, 2, and 3, same as before. Surface target, fixed point, home base, hostile area, defense point, and initial point, same as before. Generic priority waypoints 4, 5, and 6, and 7. The currently selected waypoint of the destination steering. The currently selected EGI fly to waypoint, also called hot dog, because it looks like a hot dog. The display modes are still takeoff, cruise, and landing, same as before. The pilot mainly uses the HUD during flying. Let's quickly look at the bearing distance heading indicator, or short, BDHI. In the F-14BU, the BDHI now serves as an additional navigation display that is able to display TACAN data, the current EGI fly-to waypoint, the next launch GGW launch point, the next launch GGW target, and can be synced with the pilot's HUD or HSD. The BDHI can be entirely separate from the other navigation modes and displays, and can be used as a quick way for the RIO to direct the pilot where to fly. For BDHI TACAN steering, the pilot or RIO must have the TACAN command button in TACAN, and the BDHI will then show bearing and distance to the selected TACAN station. For EGI steering, the TACAN command button must be in EGI. The RIO can then select the desired steering source via the CDNU BDHI steering page, reachable via the F4 button on the CDNU. On the BDHI steering page, the RIO has the option to select GGW launch point steering for the JDAM, GGW target steering for the JDAM, current EGI fly-to waypoint selected on the CDNU, a separate flight plan waypoint that is only shown on BDHI independent of what the current destination or EGI fly-to waypoint is. HUD sync, which synchronizes the BDHI to the HUD and shows the same steering as what the HUD is currently showing. As you can see, the aircraft provides a huge amount of navigation information and even more locations to present them to the pilot. Therefore, you have to decide which information from which source you want to see on which display. Press the spacebar to continue, even if you feel a little bit overloaded at the moment. To make things easier for this lesson, we'll divide the flight into 3 parts, which are: we start our flight from Senaki Air Base and use steering command destination, TACAN, command EGI, and PTID steering selection destination on the way to Sukumi Airport. Overhead of Sukumi Airport, we will change to steering command TACAN and TACAN command TACAN to find the carrier. Finally, we will fly back to Senaki with steering command destination, TACAN command EGI, and PTID steering selection auto. Press spacebar to continue. First, make sure that the display mode is set to takeoff. This will show the takeoff symbology on the HUD. Press the spacebar to confirm. Next, make sure that the TACAN command is set to EGI. This will select the EGI as the source of information for your navigation. Press spacebar to confirm. Also, make sure that the steering mode is set to destination. All steering cues are then based on waypoint navigation. Press spacebar to confirm. For this flight, the navigation computer already contains a flight plan with 8 waypoints. Waypoints 1, 2, and 3, which we will approach using destination steering, which implies manual sequencing. Waypoint 3 is Sukumi Airport. Over Sukumi, we will change to pure TACAN navigation. Waypoints 4, 5, and 6, which we will approach using EGI fly-to steering with automatic sequencing. Waypoint 7 is Senaki Air Base, for which you must decide which mode you want to use. Waypoint 8, which is the bullseye. All waypoints have been loaded into the aircraft already because they were defined in the mission editor. Waypoints are managed from the rear cockpit. Press the spacebar to continue. The steering mode on the PTID is currently set to EGI Fly-To, steering, which uses commands from the CDNU. The active flight plan in the CDNU is currently set to auto sequencing. Therefore, the PTID shows auto in the bottom line. This, by the way, should be indicated in the lower left corner of the HUD, but we'll come back to that a little later. This all means that at a certain distance from a waypoint, the CDNU commands to switch automatically to the next waypoint. The timing of that switching is calculated by the CDNU in a way so as to stay in accordance with civil regulatory requirements for a classical flyby. This is to help the pilot initiate the lead turn into the next waypoint at the right time. At high ground speed and more difference in track angle, the switching occurs earlier. On the other hand, at low ground speed and smaller difference in track angle, the switching occurs later. The other options for CDNU waypoint sequencing would be overfly, labeled O-fly, and manual, labeled man. Press spacebar to continue. As you may have noticed, we first want to use destination steering, which implies manual sequencing. Thus, we have to change the PTID steering mode. There are several methods to do so. You can either jump back into the rear seat and perform the required steps on your own, or let Juster do the work for you. In case you want to do it on your own, jump back. On the PTID, press button 09, PB09. This will switch from auto to destination. If you want to switch to the next waypoint, press button 6 to box the indication DEST, thereby enabling the waypoint arrows on buttons 8 and 9. Finally, press button 8 to switch from the current to the next waypoint. In case you want Jester to do the work for you, open up the gesture wheel, key binding toggle menu, and change to the main menu by pressing the same key again. Then, select 5, navigation, followed by 1, steering mode, followed by 2, destination.
Okay.
If you want gesture to switch to the next waypoint, select 5, navigation, followed by 4, select destination waypoint, followed by the number corresponding to the waypoint of your desire. Press spacebar when you have everything set according to our plan. Now, look at the lower right corner of the HUD and find the waypoint information. It should show waypoint 1 at a distance of 23.9 nautical miles. Press spacebar to confirm. During normal flight, the HSD is used to show navigation information. For combat, the HSD can be configured to repeat the PTID or show the ECM page, which gives a better situational awareness during combat maneuvering. For now, let's keep the HSD in navigation mode. Press spacebar to confirm. Taxi to the left and hold short to prepare for a normal takeoff on runway 27. After the initial climb to 500 feet, proceed to waypoint 1, flying an initial course of 282 degrees for 23 nautical miles. Minimum AGL is 500 feet. Don't forget to go through the takeoff checklist before entering the runway. The checklist will disappear automatically once you enter the runway.
Man, the CEO will bust their balls for that.
Change the display mode to cruise. Now fly the correct course to waypoint 1 by using the command heading bug within the heading tape in the HUD or by using the indications on the HSD or BDHI to exactly follow the guidance. Minimum AGL is 500 feet. You are about to reach waypoint 1. Manually change to the next waypoint or command Jester to do so. Then gently turn right and proceed to waypoint 2, which is the lake to your north-northeast.
All right, direct to selected for that waypoint. Copy. Copy. Roger that. Okay, making that waypoint our destination.
Now, how it works. Well, waypoint 2.
Direct to it is.
But it won't change to 2. Why can't we get waypoint 2?
Roger.
I'm still stuck on waypoint 3. Let's take them back out to sea.
Direct to that waypoint as you wish.
It didn't change anything. Guess we're going to Sakumi, I guess. Destination steering, destination steering. Destination waypoint.
All right, let me select that for destination.
Ah, your work. Oh my gosh. Help if I read, I guess. There we go, that looks a little better. Command tack in. Must be the lake.
You're about to reach waypoint 2.
Hallelujah.
Manually change to the next waypoint or command gesture to do so. Then gently turn left and proceed to waypoint 3, which is Sukumi Airport.
Destination. Waypoint.
Copy. We'll select that waypoint as destination.
That makes sense. Now we're headed to Sukumi. Okay, so destination is EGI. And heading.
You're about to reach waypoint 3. Manually change to the next waypoint or command gesture to do so. Then change TACAN command to TACAN. The TACAN heading and distance are displayed on the HUD, the HSD, and the BDHI. All navigation indications should point to the carrier, which should be about 25 nautical miles to the southwest. Proceed towards the carrier.
EGI flight to
Wilco.
command heading.
Copy.
Here's the carrier in a battle group. Now, reselect BGI on the TACAN command, reselect steering mode destination, and proceed to waypoint 4, which is the Nguri Dam to the northeast.
Okay, so AGI. Select steering mode destination. Steering mode destination.
Copy.
Waypoint 4.
Okay, yep, let me select that waypoint as destination here. Roger. Roger. Setting destination for that waypoint.
Set TACAN. Destination.
To enable automatic waypoint sequencing, the CDNU flight plan page is required to be set to auto, and the PTID steering mode must be set from destination to auto. In case you want to do it on your own, jump back, the Iceman will fly the jet for you. On the PTID, use button 06 to unbox destination. Use button 09 to switch from destination back to auto. Only in case you can't select auto,
I screwed it
you
up.
can perform the following steps. Set either manual or override, then choose the
Destination
CDNU
waypoint unlocked.
function button F1 to change to the main page. Then press the flight plan button to access the flight plan page. Finally, use line select key 7 to switch to auto. If you want Jester to do the work for you, select 5, Navigation, followed by 1, Steering Mode, followed by 2, EGI Fly To. If you want Jester to set the CDNU to auto sequencing, select 5, Navigation, followed by 4, Sequencing, followed by 1, Auto.
Roger.
What the heck I did? Oh. Navigation, steering mode, EGI Flight 2, I did that.
Yep.
Man.
Will this be our final destination? Okay, service target it is.
Why are we still in Tachyon?
Wilco. Okay. Copy. We'll select that waypoint as destination.
Oh, I had it, and I don't know how to get back to it.
Copy. Okay. Roger that.
Oh boy.
When flying against the sunlight, the VID provides you with a full HUD repetition, and you can navigate with head down in conjunction with the HSD and the BDHI. This keeps your situational awareness about primary flight parameters alive.
Yep, this is taking me back to the boat. Need to go here. And that ain't happening. AGI. Destination. Don't get it. Just want waypoint 4. Enable automatic waypoint sequencing. Where do we set to auto? Must be set back from destination. Flight plan page. There is no auto.
Copy that. Roger that. The direct way is often the best way.
Oh my gosh. Waypoint 4, hallelujah. Does that look to be correct? It sure does. Supersonic at 460 knots.
waypoint 5 at Mach 0.4 at an altitude of 3,000 feet MSL. You're about to reach waypoint 5. Wait until the command heading bug in the HUD automatically switches to the next waypoint, if not already, then gently turn right and proceed to waypoint 6, which is the final approach fix. Adjust airspeed and altitude in a way so as to reach waypoint 6 at 200 knots at an altitude of 1,500 feet MSL. You're about to reach waypoint 6. Wait until the command heading bug in the HUD automatically switches to the next waypoint, if not already, then gently turn right and fly the visual approach. Change the display mode to landing. Adjust airspeed and rotor descent for a smooth final approach. Check wings, gear, anti-skid, flaps, fuel pressure, warning lights.
$1,000.
Well done, you've reached Sanaki Air Base. You're free to fly to the bullseye or just fly around. You may also land somewhere else or on the deck of the carrier. This concludes the lesson.
Yep, perfect landing.
Let's see how much fuel we got. Still got a decent amount. That was a lot of aimless flying for having that much fuel still. That's impressive.
Roger that.
So we got tack in. So it's already set up for the carrier. Let's shoot some landings. So he said the Stennis should already be input. Stennis is that way. Tack in. So if I want tack in, command heading, tack in, session. Destination mode, tack in. I don't understand is why my HSD stream mode is going to destination. Stennis is out this way. About there-ish, which is 90 degrees off from my tacking.
Copy that. Copy that.
So we got heading and stop it. Stop it. Roger that.
Marshall 201, marking maps 102, 417, Angels 3, state 6.5. Rocky Mount Street 4744. Angels 4.5. State 6.1.
Doobie-doobie-two wire.
Hey, 2 wires not too bad. There we go. Hey. Wow. There we go. Hey. That's the first time I've ever gotten it to oversweep and lock in. That's cool.